Before this video starts, there's no way I can tackle this topic without spoilers, that on top of Akame Ga Kill just being a better overall series in my opinion. If you go in not knowing anything, the tone, the aura of the show, saying all that means if you haven't seen the show yet and have any interest in it whatsoever, you should go watch it first, then come back and watch this video, because again, spoilers, and honestly it'll probably also make this video a lot more enjoyable if you're familiar with the series. So there's your warning. Then again, I'm not your dad, I can't tell you what to do. If you want to watch this video without having seen Akame Ga Kill, then more power to you. So on the outside looking in, people with a very casual experience with anime or no experience at all with anime sometimes have this perception of what it is are these super bulky, long series, power fantasy, high action shows that tries way too hard to be cool and exists purely for the enjoyment of young kids. And it would be a flat out lie to pretend there isn't some truth to this way of thinking. As any anime fan will tell you though, that makes up a small portion of anime realistically, and this is an idea and perception that fans have been working hard to change over the course of like the last 5 to 10 years. So when there's a new series on the block that potentially fuels these misconceptions about the anime medium, anime vets stick their nose up at it, and this is where a lot of the hate comes in for Akame Ga Kill. I think, at least, if you search up reviews on Akame Ga Kill, a lot of the level-headed ones will all pretty much go around the same idea of it's decent if you're new to anime, but if you're not new to anime, you know what I'm saying, had your hand in a few different types of genres for a couple of years, then it's not really going to do much for you. It's going to be a little mid. And for the most part, I personally agree. Now, mid doesn't actually mean completely trash like some people try to imply it does, to me personally at least. But Akame Ga Kill definitely falls into a few generic anime tropes, being a little too edgy, trying a little too hard to be cool. But if all this is true and it is so generic, why does anyone even bother talking about Akame Ga Kill? Well, one reason: death. Akame Ga Kill treats death in a really polarizing way, and depending on who you are, you'll either like it, not really feel either way about it one way or another, or completely hate it. And of course everyone's entitled to their own opinion, but if you couldn't tell by the title of this video, I'm kind of on the liking side of things. So if you didn't become instantly consumed by rage upon reading the title, leave you a little hate comment, dislike, and then dip, and you're still here, let's talk about how Akame Ga Kill handles death better than your favorite anime. What exactly makes death in Akame Ga Kill so polarizing? Well, Akame Ga Kill follows our main group of characters named the Night Raid, and out of the 11 of them, only one ends up being alive at the end of the series. So, and there comes the problem for some people. Some people feel like death, the quantity of it at least, was way too high for a series like this, coming way too often and literally having no real significance or value in killing off all our favorite characters, it often feeling like it was done for no reason or a shock factor. And with this specific point, I kind of agree. It's clear the series wanted to impose a serious tone to the audience, and there's not very many faster ways to make someone take something serious than when life or death is involved. But the quantity of death in the series again makes it feel cheap, artificial, kinda unwarranted and unnecessary. And I guess this is where we get to the more hot take portion of the video, but I like it that way. At the time of recording this video, 2 public figures have just passed away: Prince Philip and DMX. We learned about their passing on the exact same day, and the contrast between the reactions of them dying was interesting to me, to say the very least. Prince Philip's passing was pretty much met with a bunch of memes and jokes about this old white guy from London dying, and that was really interesting. And DMX's passing was met with a lot of sorrow and appreciation for his art and his craft, and a lot of enjoying the good moments with DMX. And I'm not really here to get all preachy and, you know, try to impose my morality on people or anything like that, because that's obviously not why you're here. You're here to hear me talk about anime. But I see death as a pretty taboo thing, something that I wouldn't really joke about, and it's not something that I don't joke about because I necessarily think it's wrong or because I'm saying anyone who jokes about someone dying is a bad person, because I don't necessarily believe that either. It just doesn't feel right to do to me personally. Like I said, it's not really a morality thing. It's just like, territory that I don't really want to tread in. But with the glaring differences between the reactions of Prince Philip's death and DMX's death, it reminded me that death to some people isn't really this super taboo thing. Some people have just come to terms with one day all of our hearts will stop beating, and that's just the way it is. That's the human, or really life experience with anything. One way or another, one day me and you are gonna be gone from the face of this earth, because again, that's just how life works. And whether or not you take death in life really serious, or you just see it as something that we all have to experience, it's gonna come around. But why do I bring this all up? Why or how does this defend my case for Akame Ga Kill and death in that series? Well, I'll explain. It's not uncommon for death to be very romanticized in any form of storytelling. I mean, we've all seen it before. Character A is sad and crying over the body of character B as the life slowly fades out of them. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. A lot of these moments are actually done really well, and they evoke emotions out of you, and they make you care for the story and the character a whole lot more. But if you've dealt with death in any real capacity, you know that it doesn't really happen like that in real life. If you've been dealt the unfortunate hand of having to deal with the death of a friend or family member or anyone who you cared about, and it wasn't at the hand of old age or natural causes, then chances are you didn't get this super romanticized moment where you stood over someone you cared about as they spoke their last words to you. Chances are you woke up one day and they were gone. And chances are, in the wild tornado of emotions you were feeling, there was a sense of cheapness and a sense of asking why. Why do you have to go through that thing? Why this happened to you? Why this happened to the person that you care about? It doesn't really make any sense. It doesn't feel necessary. It feels like something that you're going through and that you're questioning, and you'll never really have an answer, because again, that's just the way life is. And is that starting to sound familiar? Yeah, because it's just like Akame Ga Kill. Again, don't get me wrong here, romanticizing death is not a new thing in storytelling, and I'm not going to stick my nose up at it and be all pretentious and act like that's not how death should work in stories. It 1000% should, because it evokes emotion in the audience, and it exists in all of these big budget movies and TV shows because again, it works, and it works well. But just because a story decides to go against the grain and do something different doesn't always necessarily mean that thing that they're doing is bad. Sometimes all it takes to stand above the rest is to be different and to be unique, and whether you like how Akame Ga Kill handles death or not, that's something that you have to acknowledge. It feels different. And I know we consume stories as a way to sort of disassociate with real life, and some people don't really like real life feelings mixing in with their romanticized fictional worlds. It doesn't really make any sense, because you're saying Awaken, if I wanted to deal with real life, I wouldn't watch anime, and fair point. But in my opinion, allowing the real life emotions and thought processes behind death to leak in when you're watching Akame Ga Kill makes the series a whole lot better. Characters aren't dying to push the plot forward. They're not dying for super important plot reasons. They're just dying. They're just being killed. While there are some people who think this is extremely sloppy writing, and that when an important character dies, it always needs to have a rhyme or reason behind it, I personally disagree. I don't see death like that in stories. Sure, going about it that way is completely fine, but I think the way Akame Ga Kill does it is completely fine also. So in a landscape filled with well drawn out moments between two characters, one slowly dying, the other crying, I never mind the change of pace to very cold, random, and in-your-face death Akame Ga Kill chooses to utilize in its story. And in some cases I feel comfortable in saying, Akame Ga Kill handles death better than your favorite anime. And that's the end of the video. If you enjoyed the video, you can leave a like. If you didn't enjoy the video, then you don't have to like it. Let it be known that this video is really just one giant opinion, and The title is kind of just made to garner interest and make you click. I'm not obviously saying Akame Ga Kill does death better than your favorite anime, so don't get all butthurt and feel the need to defend your favorite show. You don't have to do that, bro. It's just a title. I make videos of this quality or better all the time. I'm leaving.